I'm gonna simplify everything for you because it's not complicated. You just need to know all the major stuff, and once you know all the major stuff, then you kind of become a master when it comes to the assassin class and using the shadow masters. So with this new season 11, there's going to be a new weapon called the Whispering Mirage. So Whispering Mirage, what it does is that it gives you an extra shadow clone, and then you're going to dual wield both of them, which gives you three of them, which is super cool. I have a blue, yellow, and red to symbolize fire, lightning, and ice, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I kind of did that for fun. They might die if I try to go fight or something, but this is just for the video, to, make them look cool. But yeah, um, the assassins, they handle the elemental part, and for me, I handle the physical damage, and my mercenary handles the magic damage. So it's having no issues with any immunes. If one immune shows up, the others will deal with it, and vice versa. So yeah, that's a little introduction, a little brief summary what this build is about. It uses Tiger Strike. And if I'm doing super dangerous maps like solo tier 14 maps, I'm going to be using Mind Blast the whole time because getting physically close, it's just you're just asking for death. Even though I have a 60% block chance with 2 frames per second, which we'll discuss in a minute. So right away, we're going to jump straight to talking about the Shadow Master and how the Shadow Master is calculated, how it works. With that basic knowledge that I'm going to give you, then everything else is for you to discover what you want to do with the class and the window of opportunity, the way that you want to build it, you can do it the way that you want to. First, let's talk about how the Shadow Master is calculated. So the only thing that you have to remember is that there's reductions. So for example, we're going to use Venom for this demonstration. So when the Shadow Master is casting Venom, what it's going to do is that it's actually going to divide Venom level total in half. And the cool part about it is that you do not have to worry about hard points. So anything hard points with this build, you just can forget about it. So like all the skill levels from your charms, your torch, your gear, it's all going to affect Venom. So it's level 28 right now. So that is included. So there's no stress to that. So if you're worried about hard points, just remember you can just eliminate that from your brain and that does not exist. It works off of soft points as well. So the Shadow Master, what it's going to do, it's going to take the Venom and it's going to divide it by half, which is 14. So then after it divides it by 14, then the Shadow Master takes its own level and it divides it by 3. So with the whole dividing part, all you have to remember when you're calculating all the other skills, when you divide the Shadow Master, you divide it by 3. And if we're using Venom as the example, then you divide Venom by 2. So always remember Shadow Master is 3 and Venom and all the other skills are 2 when it does the calculation for its skill level that's going to, the final results. So very, very simple. Shadow Master is 3 and Venom is 2 when it comes to the dividing part. So when you divide Shadow Master by 3, which is currently level 53, it's going to turn out 17 plus 69. Good number, right? But what happens is that that number actually gets rounded up, so it actually goes up to 18. So then after you get your calculation numbers from Venom and the Shadow Master, 14 plus 18 is going to be 32. So now when it casts Venom, you know that it's always going to cast a level 32 Venom. So you can put that in your notepad somewhere for notes, and you can just write section A and just say, when it comes to the calculation, divide the Shadow Master by 3 and the Venom by 2, and then you add the two value numbers together, which in my case, because I have a level 28 Venom and I have a level 53 Shadow Master, 14 plus 18 is 32. So very, very easy, and then you just do that for the rest of the skills. So now we're going to go to section B. And as you already know, as you can tell, I have a point into every skill that the assassin has. The reason why I have a point in every skill ability, as we discussed in section A, anytime the Shadow Master uses an ability, it calculates that value. So what I'm doing is that since we can't control what the Shadow Master does, because the Shadow Master wants to do its own thing and it casts all its abilities random, um, the reason why we put a skill point in every single skill, any skill that it uses, we know that it will always have a strong ability casting because it's always going to have a strong calculation when it comes to using that skill. So if it had 0 points, then there would be nothing there. It would just go off of its Shadow Master level, which will be a level 18 Death Sentry. But since we have the Death Sentry here, it's going to be like level 28 or 30 or something like that. Since we put one skill point into it, it's a big difference to put a single skill point in every skill in the tree because it uses all these abilities. So that's how we kind of control the randomness, so to make sure that it doesn't fall off of DPS at all, and it's always staying fluent. So that is section B. So just remember is that when you're using the Shadow Master, you want to have a single point in all your skills and abilities. So anything that the Shadow Master uses is going to be strong and potent. And now we're going to talk about section C, the synergies that the Shadow Master uses when it uses an ability. So, unlike the player, where our synergies for all our skill abilities is hard locked at level 20, and plus it has to be invested with hard points. With the Shadow Master, it uses the same synergies like the player, but it's not affected by a hard cap. It's not affected by a hard lock being, only level 20 max. It's uncapped, so it can literally the synergy bonuses can get boosted to up to 100 if you want to go that high, just for example. But also it calculates the synergy bonuses from soft points, unlike hard points. So it's just like I said earlier that everything about hard points with this build, just erase that from your mind because that does not exist here when it comes to the Shadow Master, which is pretty good. So for the example that we're going to do is we're going to use Phoenix Strike. So we have a level 100 Shadow Master, we have a level 100 Fist of Fire, a level 100 Claw of Thunder, and a 100 level Blades of Ice, and a level 100 Phoenix Strike. So what happens is that when the Shadow Master uses the Phoenix Strike, not only that the Phoenix Strike level is level 100, but the synergy bonuses, just like the player, is going to be 100 from every synergy that Phoenix Strike uses, because Phoenix Strike uses Fist of Fire, Claw of Thunder, and Blades of Ice to boost its damage. So with the player, normally you can only go up to level 20, but when it comes to the Shadow Master, the Phoenix synergy bonuses are going to be boosted up to level 100. But I'm using that logic of going that high in numbers so you guys can get the idea of how uncapped the synergies can go. I'm in the skill abilities as well. If you can get the highest level skill possible with this build. So the sky is the limit when it comes to boosting the synergies and all that stuff. That's why I'm breaking it down in sections so you can look at certain angles. You look at section A for the calculation, then you look at section B, understanding that the Shadow Master uses all its abilities random, and then in section C is the synergy part where you focus your mindset on how you want to distribute your synergies for your Shadow Master. So that is pretty much it for section C. And now we got to talk about section D. When you summon your own Shadow Master, it creates its own gear and weapons, and it all scales off of the Shadow Master's level on how potent and how juicy and strong the gear is going to be on your Shadow Master. So my Shadow Master currently is level 52. So all its weapons and armor pieces, its helmet, chest, boots, gloves, whatever it's using. I don't know if it uses rings or amulets, but all the gear that it's using is super potent and it's super juicy, very high values. So like for the claw, it's probably like almost good as like a two-hander at that point. And let's say if the Shadow Master was a level 100, then that's just double. So like the claws doing crazy amounts of damage. So That's something to keep in mind. Is that higher the Shadow Master level is, more stronger the gear piece that it's wearing. And now I'm going to talk about the personal choice that I did for the passive skill tree. So what I currently did is that I put all my hard points into Fire Blast. The reason why I chose Fire Blast to put all my points into it is that all these abilities, Shock Web, Wake of Fire, Charge Bolt Sentry, Wake of Inferno, Lightning Sentry, Chain, Lightning Sentry, and Death Sentry, they all get boosted by Fire Blast. So this is for me to be like, hey, it uses all these different traps. How can I boost the synergy of that skill equally for all of them? And ta-da, I focus on Fire Blast. So not only that when it casts Fire Blast, it's going to be very strong because it's maxed out, also, when it casts all these other traps, it's going to have a efficiency synergy from Fire Blast, and of course with all these other synergies. So let's use Chain Lightning Sentry for example. Like just like in Section D, it gets the boost damage from Fire Blast, Charge Bolt Lightning, and Lightning Sentry. So it's going to get all these boosted damage because it calculates the soft cap as well. Because there's no hard cap when it comes to the Shadow Master, which is pretty good. So when it summons Lightning Sentry, it's going to do a lot of damage normally, which is really cool. So that's what I did. I put all my points into Fire Blast. Moving to the Shadow Disciple. So of course I maxed out the Shadow Master. But the thing that you notice here is that I put all my points into Weapon Block and Claw Mastery. The reason for this is that with the Weapon Block, um, as you can see, I have a 64% to parry chance and a 46 plus chance to block rate. When it comes to Weapon Block, I mean, I tried doing test builds without Weapon Block. I was literally dying left and right, and I felt like I was playing a terrible, bad class. But when I upgraded my Weapon Block all the way up uh, to the maximum, it's made my survivability super great, and it feels good. So having max Weapon Block is a must. And when it comes to the Weapon Block, it's 2 frames. So yeah, it's not like it's not long frames like 5 or 8 frames. When it comes to dual wielding with claws and blocking, and if you get the high value to a certain percentage, it's going to be 2 frames. So yeah, it's definitely my survivability doing Uber content, and it feels really good. Having no weapon block, I feel like my build is terrible, and I feel like I'm dying a lot. So that's my personal experience. And maxing the claw mastery is for me to do damage with my tiger strike, and also to boost the damage for my shadow masters when they're using claw abilities. And that is it for the shadow disciples. For martial arts, I put the last remaining points, I had like 5 left, all into tiger strike because I do the physical part with tiger strike. But the main reason why I'm actually using Tiger Strike is the life leech because I have a lot of life leech from my BK wedding rings. When I hit somebody, I usually sometimes I go up to full maximum life when it comes to Tiger Strike. I tried using every other ability: Fist of Fire, Cobra Strike, Claw of Thunder, Blaze of Ice, and Phoenix Strike. It doesn't. I have no idea. But Tiger Strike feels the most comfortable ability for me to use when I'm using for this build or how I'm playing the assassin. But that's my personal choice. But I didn't have that much points left over because I only had like 5 or 4, and I just put the rest of it into Tiger Strike. Also with the Tiger Strike, since I put a little bit points into it, Fist of Fire and I believe, yeah, Blades of Ice get the synergy bonuses from Tiger Strike, so it helps those 2 abilities out. So now we're going to talk about the gear and how my build works. For the helmet, it's going to be Steel Shade. For the chest piece, it's going to be Guardian Angel Templar armor, dual wielding Whispering Mirage, Titan's Grip, BK wedding rings on both slots. The belt is Arachnid's Mesh. The boots is Shadow Dancers, and the amulet is going to be all resistances with Mana Leech and +2 to all assassin skills. You can try to get Mana Leech and Life Leech as well. So now we're going to talk about the gear individually, what's very important. So we already talked about the Whispering Mirage. This is mandatory because this is the only way that we can get 3 Shadow Clones. For the Jewel Sockets, I use faster attack speed, jewels with 40% increase enhanced damage. And for the corruption for the Whispering Mirages is the increased attack speed corruption for them, so you can attack faster. That's what you want to focus on, trying to attack very super fast. For the Guardian's Angel's chest piece, it gives us faster block rate and increased chance of blocking. And yes, both those prefixes do affect weapon block, but the major part is the maximum resistances. And with the 3 jewel slots, I put rooms in them, so I have 45% all resistances, so I can stay res cap. For Steel Shade, I did the same thing, all rooms. If I can find a way to get more resistances, I would actually replace the rooms with faster hit recovery. But that's what I did. A faster block rate and increased chance of blocking, which is super important for this build. And for the corruption, for the helmet and the chest piece, it's going to be the same. +1 to all skills to give you more skill points. So it'll make your Shadow Masters go from 52 to 54. Those are the corruption rolls that you want to aim for this. For Titan Grip, it's the same thing. It gives us faster block rate, increased chance of blocking, but it also gives us defense versus missile and lightning resistance, and making freeze get cut off in half, which is great. For the BK wedding rings, you want to roll max life, and for the belt, you want to aim for reduce physical damage taken percentage. It can go up to 8, I believe, 8% for the belt. So it'll give you more physical reduction when you get hit by physical damage. And for the Shadow Dancers, I kind of forgot, but I think all resistances or poison resistance corruption is what you want to aim for. I don't remember correctly on the top of my head, but I know it has to do some kind of resistance corruption. But again, corruptions are all personal choice. But I do know the corruptions that are mandatory are going to be the Guardian Angel and the Steel Sage for the +1 to all skills to make your Shadow Masters higher level. And then now we got to talk about the charms. Pretty standard. You're going to have 9 Shadow Disciple charms with 40 plus life on it. Hellfire Torch, Annihilatist small charm, unique. And for the small charms, they're all going to be life and all resistances. So that's what you're aiming for. For last, we're going to do the demonstration for the gear and why it's important that you have to run these 3 items, the Guardian Angel, Steel Sage, and Titan's Grip. So as you notice with the weapon block, first I want to talk about the faster block rate before we talk about the parry chance. The faster block rate for the assassins when they're dual wielding claws, for them to get 2 frames per block, all you need to get is 86% faster block rate, and we get that with all the gear here with the Guardian's Angel, Steel Sage, and Titan's Grip. And that will give us like 100 increase faster block rate, which we over exceeded our goal for the faster block rate because we only need an 86. But that means that our blocking is 2 frames, and it makes us very super strong and durable when we're doing Uber content and soling tier 14 maps, especially. And the next important thing, the major part, is the parry chance. So increased blocking chance does affect it. All you need to do is take off the Titan's Grips gloves, and you can see that our parry chance went down by 3. And then we pick it back up, and our parry chance went back up to 64. So if you actually take all this gear off, our parry chance is going to be now 52, which is not good at all. I mean, your blocking rate is now 50%. And I tried playing with no weapon block. Like I put 1 point into it when I'm trying to do solo tier 14 maps, and the Uber Pinnacle bosses and all that fun jazz. And I was dying. I didn't feel good. I felt like my build was pretty bad. But when I focused on increasing the parry chance, and made a really huge difference, and I've been able to survive differently. And then we're going to put the gear back on. So we put the steel shade back on. It's going to give us 57%. We put the Guardian's Angels chest piece back on. It's going to give us 61. And for the Titan's grip, parry chance to 64. So that is exactly the reason why I run those gear pieces to survive the super dangerous content. But like I said before, everyone's does farming differently. People focus on different content. Um, don't do the crazy dungeons. Like everyone hates them because it's too difficult. And for me, I don't know why I like it and I enjoy doing the dungeon maps. But that's where my home is when I play Project Diablo 2. That's where I spend most of my time doing solo content. So yeah, that is pretty much it for the gear for me. And the last gear that we need to talk about is the Mercenary. So the main weapon is the main song's lesson, because every time it casts, it has a chance to do lower resistances, which is really good for the Shadow Masters because they're doing all the elemental damage. They're doing the fire, ice, and lightning. Also, it gives +6 to all skills. So when the Dark Mercenary or the Light Mercenary is casting their spells, all their damage does get scaled by increased damage to demons. So not only that they're doing 1,000 damage, they're getting a 450 plus bonus on top of it. So that's why I put all pull runes in there because they do a lot of damage. They get a lot of scaling from that. And also with the chains of honor, you get even more 200% damage to demons. So that makes your mercenary do a lot of damage, as you can see in the videos that I demonstrated. So that's where he's doing a lot of damage to demons, and also he's doing damage to the undead. He gets about 250%, which is super nice. It's going to be Steel Shade again. For the chest piece, it's going to be Chains of Honor. For the gloves, it's going to be Occultist. For the belt, it's going to be Arachnid's Mesh. And for the boots, it's going to be Merman's Sockets boots. And with, the Occultist and the main song and the Arachnid's belt, it's pretty mandatory. They're doing faster cast rate, which is really good. He casts more abilities. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the mercenary gear. With the main song's gear giving +6 to all skills, the helmet giving +2, the chest piece giving all 2, and the Arachnid's Mesh giving +1. So that's like 11 plus to all skills for the mercenary. That's pretty good. And with the Chains of Honor and the main song's lessons having a lot of damage to demons, they're just nuking down bosses or any type of demon enemies pretty quickly. You can use the Light Mercenary or the Dark Mercenary if you want to. But I've noticed that the Act 4 Mercenary is the best choice of slot when it comes to this build. And yeah, that is it for the build. And I appreciate everything. Just a quick little shout out to the old video. I had like 100 subscribers a long time ago, like 5, 6 months ago, and now I have 3,000 plus subscribers. Wanted to give a little quick shout out to you guys, and you guys are giving me still praise for my build guide. It was my first one, and thank you so much, and you guys have a good day.
I'm overburdened.